Good afternoon. I live in Codman Square in District 4. I'm a fan of the idea of rent control, but I'm not really a fan of this policy as it exists, and I'll explain why. In Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, which we understand where much of Black people live, I looked at the MLS data from 2021 to 22. Dorchester average rent went up 11.6%, Roxbury 12.9%, Mattapan only around 2%. However, if Mattapan residents go looking for an apartment today, you'll find that over the past 6 months, your rent went up over 12.5%. And this doesn't count existing tenants who are just being gouged, 50%, 100% rent increases year over year. So 10% is kind of a joke for me. It only slows displacement. And as far as Black Boston is concerned, by the numbers, it stabilizes nothing. So I'm not really a supporter of rent control. I am in support of a rent freeze. Just freeze the rent for at least 5 years. It sounds drastic, but the conditions that African Americans have had to live under is even more drastic. According to census data, American Community Survey, median household income for Black Bostonians is around $56,000. According to HUD, 30% of your income above that leaves you rent burden. So that means that African Americans can only afford $1,400 a month. And we're looking at $3,000 if trends continue in terms of the rent increase. So pretty much all of Black Boston is severely rent burdened, those that haven't been pushed out already. And I'm disappointed to hear from the administration censoring the psychology of developers. Oh, what about the psychology of Black residents whose rent is double what they can afford? What about their psychology? So I say that the city council and the state legislature should not engage in bad faith negotiations with so-called neighbors. I'm sure that some of them are, but the ones that are playing in the market, that are kind of making things spiral out of control, we just have to be honest that we're dealing with entitled suburbanites who want to continue to hoard wealth and soulless corporate vampires that want to expand their profits. And so the next time that these guys call you, because they're holding Boston renters hostage. So when these guys call you, you just tell them it's the policy of the United States to not negotiate with terrorists. Now, if we send this rule up as it exists, the message is clear. I understand the sentiment that you're expressing, that the mayor is expressing, but by the numbers, if you send this up as it exists, all you're saying is to developers is don't stop plundering Black Boston, don't stop displacing Black Boston, just slow it down so my administration looks good. That's literally all that this policy will do. And the message to Black Bostonians is also clear. The FHA left you hanging in the 1930s, and in 2023, so will I. That's what the numbers say. So freeze the rent. If you have to increase it, maybe tie it to CPI. If you look at the data, it barely gets to 2%, never mind 3%. So if you have to increase it, stop it at 3. It's barely 1%, 2% if you look year over year. I don't know about the 15-year exemption.
We're just at the 4-minute mark, so.
Oh, 4 minutes, sorry. But yeah, Black Boston needs a rent freeze. That's the only way that this works. Thanks.
Thank you.